it looks like it did say live on Demon Racer's YouTube channel.
It does. You see it?
Well, on the Riverside end it said, but on Demon Racer's
Oh,
YouTube
we're live.
channel,
Yeah, we're live.
I don't see it at all.
Yeah, I
We're
went over.
live.
I went over to your site and your.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I see
We're
it now.
live.
So you might want to
Okay.
change the layout.
Yes, I can change the layout. Let's make sure that our layout looks beautiful to, what do I change it to? Speaker full screen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what we're going to do today. All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Join in on the live chat today discussion. Today we're going to be talking about really strange things pertaining to teeth and vampires and the connection to Nephilim in regards to vampires and teeth and all kinds of weird genetic anomalies. We'll be talking about the Germans back in the day that are, we can't say their name, I don't think, because we might get in trouble. But we're going to try to avoid that.
I think you can say it. Just you have to wait a while in the stream to say it.
Oh, okay.
You
We
have
have
to
to wait.
You have to say it right away.
That's how it goes. Okay. Good to know.
That's
Good
the thing
to know.
where I was again. We mentioned on the stream last night that I was watching Ian Carroll, and I was watching Joe Rogan's podcast with him on YouTube. And the things that they can say is not the stuff that I mean. Like, it's kind of like one of those things where I'd like to go to YouTube and say, "Is everything they said fine?" Because if it is fine, I'd like to know that. And if it's not fine, I'd also like to know that because, yeah, then we could basically say anything we want to say, right? Because we don't say anything worse than that.
No, we definitely don't.
Or not even worse is the wrong word, but we don't say anything more controversial than the things they said.
Or more outside of the box of what is acceptable. What is deemed acceptable.
Correct. And it's like, so it does feel like that should be, we should have some kind of guidelines saying, is that okay to talk about? Because he said all the words we try not to say and talked about all the subjects we go over to Rumble or the audio only to say those things.
Yeah.
But I'd like to know if I could say them on YouTube because, yeah, for clarity's sake.
That would be good. That would be good to know. Well, today we guys welcome on this wonderful Saturday. We're Saturday, right? Yeah, Saturday podcast of Ancient Angels. We are on episode 10, I believe, right? 10, yeah. And today is going to be the episode we talk about the connection to Nephilim and teeth and human teeth and your teeth. And the reason why many of you have teeth that you call canines, like these things, the sharp ones. Okay, we're going to be talking about canines. We're going to be talking about humans and old humans having straight, more perfect teeth, and why you don't have perfect teeth today has to do with Nephilim. Surprise. Welcome to the Nephilim channel. So starting it off, I just kind of have to, I think I just have to sort of just show you some stuff because, I mean, getting into this subject is a weird one, but we got to start off to get things rolling. Let's see, we'll allow. Let's see if that interrupts anything there. Okay, gonna go share my screen. Hopefully, nothing that I'm sharing the screen from will get me in trouble or something. I don't think so, but hopefully
I think sometimes you might have to you possibly might have to edit something out, but nothing will get you shut down.
Cool. Okay, so I think the screen's being shared. Is the screen shared right now? Yes.
Yes, it is.
There we go. Okay, cool. So first off, I need to express to you guys this hilarious article. Canine teeth shrank in human ancestors at least 4.5 million years ago. Isn't this amazing? Did you know that the canine teeth in your mouth used to be much smaller? Did you know that?
Um,
Are you aware of that, JT?
no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and in fact, Cro-Magnon man and other skulls um, didn't actually have those kind of teeth. So we can type in lack of canine teeth in Cro-Magnon man. Let's see. Is it Cro-Magnon man? Or no, what's the other guy? It's not Cro-Magnon man.
The
It's
Denisovans or
well, the Denisovans also didn't have it.
Do you say Neanderthal?
The Neanderthal, maybe it's Neanderthal. Denisovans. I apologize, guys. I didn't get all my notes together as fast as I wanted to. But yeah, this is, by the way, this is a DNA. This is a Denisovan tooth that they found. They determined that the height of this person, I believe, was 15 to 18 foot tall, based off of this molar tooth that they found.
Really? I didn't see.
Yes.
I never heard them.
Oh, 18 foot. Look, 18-foot giant human who lived 40,000 years ago in Asia.
What is that? Where does that come from? Where is that article from, or that webpage?
I'm not sure what to click on. Let's see here. This is on some sketchy looking thing. It doesn't look legit.
I mean, I would wonder if the quote unquote science would admit that there was an 18-foot tall human. That sounds a lot like a Nephilim. And I don't know how they could say it wasn't when you say it's 18 foot tall.
Yeah, that right there. I mean, that's pretty profound. I mean, even if you just look at the Denisovan skulls, I love this right here. This like National Geographic thing, because check this out. This is hilarious. We've got modern human, we got Homo horribilis or homogeneous or whatever, and then we got Neanderthals, and then we have the Denisovans. But do you notice that they don't show the skull? The skull for the Denisovan in this example is missing. Do you know why it's missing?
Is it because they only have teeth?
Well, look at how big the space is here. They're like, the Denisovan would be like a branch that mated with the Neanderthals, that mated with the these people. That, you know, no. The reason why it's missing is because the skull is twice the size of an average human, and they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to show it. And so, like, this is one of the skulls that was found. It is double the size of the average human face. Okay.
Look at that cranium on that thing too.
Bro, it's massive. It is so massive, and the shape is quite significantly different. But look, National Geographic. This is National Geographic. They're like, oh yeah, the Denisovans are right in here, but they don't want to show the skull.
They didn't have skulls.
They're just like, it's somewhere in here, but we don't want you to see the skull, because if you actually saw it, you would question everything.
I'm sure you remember this, but do you remember? Was it 3 years ago they found something like they called it like the Dragon Man skull?
Oh yes. I remember hearing about that.
It was like really similar to that, where it's like it seemed like the back of it like went. You know, it wasn't quite like cone shaped or anything like that. It was real, like the back of the head. Yeah, it was like really. Yeah, there you go.
Well, it's very protruding brow ridges. Let's see.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, it's a little interesting. But look, we've got some of the Denisovan skull in comparison. This is the Dragon Man as well. I guess maybe he was considered a Denisovan.
Okay, yeah, because we only got the top half. But yeah, those brow ridges. Yeah, that'd be really really interesting to see what that looks like with some skin on there.
Yeah, definitely unusual. So, anyways, now I want to point out some other unusual things when it comes to teeth in these things. This is the conehead skull's teeth, and I want you to notice something. The conehead skulls lack canine teeth. Now, there's hard to find them when they have them, but they lack the presence of canine teeth. And if you notice that all of their canine teeth, even in older skulls, a lot of them are missing. So if you look, and it's not just grinded down, like they don't even have the ridge that the canine tooth would sit, because normally this ridge of the tooth gets extended up. Like this one, it has it, but it's not as canined. And so like some of the skulls will lack even the ridge. It'll just be like straight teeth all the way across. And it's very fascinating. Looking at teeth and skulls and old skeletons, like you see a lot of weird stuff. I don't know what happened to this guy, but he got messed up. Something happened with him.
Yeah,
One of his eyes ended up there.
Yeah, that's really jacked up right there.
I don't even know what's going on with that guy.
His mom was a smoker.
Yeah, for sure. She did something. But this is also fascinating. Look how big the jaw is. Okay, so now there is another interesting thing to bring up when it comes to looking at old skulls and old teeth. Like a lot of old skeletons, they have perfect teeth, and it's like how they didn't have dentistry. You know, when we find them with teeth, like how are their teeth so straight and perfect? Why are they so straight and perfect? Where is the canine tooth? Where is the ridge for the canine tooth? What?
Like quite an overbite too.
Yeah, it is. But it's like, look at the perfection of the teeth. Is that not fascinating? Like there is something unusual that they're not telling us about our historical context of our teeth. When you see skulls with lacking canine teeth and just like a perfect straight ridge across. Now they're going to tell you this argument and be like, oh, well, they grounded their teeth because the seeds and the nuts and the stuff they ate, it just grinded them down. So that's why they didn't have canine teeth. No, they don't have canine teeth. They don't even have the presence of canine teeth on the upper ridge. Okay. And conehead skulls are one of these skulls that also lack canine teeth. It's very unusual because you're like, okay, you know, canine teeth in animals you see all the time, but why don't you see them in older skeletons or old human skulls? Or why did you know, humans' canine teeth in humans shrank 4.5 billion years ago? Oh, they didn't have canine teeth back in the day. Why? Because they were more human. Okay, this is why.
So they're saying that they shrank. So that the oldest ones should have canine teeth, and then these ones do not have them. Or
well, they say that canine teeth shrank in human ancestors. So they're saying back in the day, our teeth were smaller. So it says canine teeth shrank in human ancestors 4.5 million years ago.
Well,
or they're saying, I guess you're right.
Because they don't have canine teeth in those old skulls, and we do. So how could you say they shrank?
You're right. Maybe it's either way, it's nonsense. It says male hominids may have lost extra large canine teeth that are seen in most other male primates at least 4.5 million years ago, relatively early on in our evolution. This suggests that male human ancestors became less aggressive with each other around the same time, possibly because females preferred less aggressive mates, says a researcher behind the findings.
So I guess it'd be likely to assume that they found many examples of the decline in the canine teeth and lots of links in between them and us.
Yeah.
Right? So they would have lots of examples of how they shrank.
Yes.
Or are these skulls like one-offs, and they wrap this whole story around the science?
You know. Yeah, exactly. It's pretty ridiculous, honestly. It's like they just had these like hypotheses that they drew up from some capacity of whatever narrative they wanted to spin, and they just were like, oh, and then the humans suddenly didn't have canine teeth because they were less aggressive, guys. They were less aggressive.
Yeah, the chicks really dug the guys who were less aggressive. Because it sounds like these guys are just sitting around drinking beers and saying, "How old do you think that skull's?" I'm like 5 million years old.
Yeah,
and that's 4. Let's go with 4.5.
Exactly. Yeah, you know, and so this is very comical when you see this stuff because it's like, really, that's the solution that we've come up with. Like, okay, sure.
Brian, they say that I'm a little bit lower than you, so I don't know if you can turn yours down.
Oh, my mic's too hot. Mm-hmm. Let me turn it like this. I think that's down.
Okay, how do we sound now? Do we sound
I've turned it down a tiddlywink. I'm talking into the mic. JT told me to talk into the mic. So
I did. I did. Actually, you can blame me for that.
yeah, he was like, he wanted me to sound good. He said, "Are we sounding good? I think we're sounding good. Maybe. Hopefully that works."
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, okay, so yeah, they're saying that basically humans' teeth shrank as we got progressively, and it happened real fast. Okay, but the reality is, you look at old skeletons, and the old skulls don't have canine teeth. And it's like, and the conehead skulls specifically don't have canine teeth, which is also a very strange, alarming like thing, because the canine teeth. It's like, why are they missing? In fact, there's a woman who does a study, this tooth person who does some study on the presence of teeth in ancient history and how our teeth have changed throughout time. I emailed her, but she didn't get back to me. I don't think she liked my suggested hypothesis when I was like, hey, like, I kind of just put it all out there when I emailed her.
How soon did you bring up the dog people?
I avoided the dog people conversation. I just was like, I might have mentioned Nephilim. Okay, I might have mentioned Nephilim. Like, and she probably was like, this person's a wacko. Okay, but it's all right. Maybe I'll get an email from her eventually.
Bro, do you know what
mhm.
movie I believe just came out?
Oh yeah, Dog Man.
Yeah, dog. Yeah, literally Dog Man. I was like, oh man. I was like, so if you guys can see that.
Yeah, Dog Man.
Dog Man. They always have to tell you.
Yep. They just don't want you. They want to be able to construe the algorithm of people searching up the term Dogman, so that way now you get this stupid little cartoon rather than getting the appropriate things you should be looking up in relation to this topic.
Yeah, why else? What a stupid name for a movie, unless it was about a dog man, like a werewolf type creature, and they name that. You know what I mean? Because that's not really informative of anything. It's like all
No.
the animals are people in that movie.
Yes, it's ridiculous. Now there's more. You know what? I want to show you some more stuff actually, since we're on this topic of skulls and whatnot. But let me just share this screen thing here. Wait, does it? Why is it not sharing my screen? Oh, there it is. Screen share. Entire screen. Bada bing. Okay. So here is another interesting subject that I want you to check out. This is called acromegaly. Have you heard of acromegaly?
No.
Well, now you have. Look at this. So this is a Nephilimized trait, acromegaly. You have a prominent forehead, enlarged nose, enlarged lips and tongue, prominent chin and jaw. So this is a person without acromegaly, and this is a person with it.
That reminds me of that one wrestler. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
not
what was
Andre
that guy's
the Giant.
name? No, not Andre the Giant. Him too, but it was more so prominent. It was like this wrestler guy from I think like the 20s or 30s, and he had like this massive head.
Oh, you're talking. Oh, I don't know, but there's this wrestler. This is the Undertaker.
No, that's
who
not the
has it as
Undertaker.
well.
No, that's not the Undertaker.
This is the Undertaker.
He doesn't have a weird face.
He does have a pretty big face. I thought he had it too.
No, Undertaker looks pretty normal. He's just big. Like I don't know about that guy with that jaw. That's weird.
This is like acromegaly. It's got all kinds of weird, interesting conditional stuff that they don't, they try to like basically explain these Nephilimized traits and conditions, including extra teeth and all kinds of weird sort of response looking things. I love this one is kind of funny, comical. Like they're like, just make a really weird face so that way we can make sure you have acromegaly. Like the faces that they have of people make is hilarious. But anyways, so like this is all of the other strange conditions that they try to avoid people even knowing about in relation to this. acromegaly. And so they've got it in women, it looks like. And I mean, really, this is just people. This is people today. That's honestly like, I know a guy that looks like this, and I know a guy that looks like this. So, that's just everybody. But it's strange that they tried to like give a what it is. What do you give a label to a condition of traits, and say that it's connected to this protruding sort of gland response or whatever.
Bro,
So
I found that guy. If you want to see a picture of him,
what's the guy?
his name is, I think, Maurice Tillett. Yeah, and actually, what it says on here, it says Acromegaly Shrek.
Really? I can't spell Shrek.
I mean, if you want to let me screen
That guy.
share,
Oh, there he is.
You got it?
Yeah. He does. Yeah, he's the dude that they modeled Shrek after.
Yeah, but tell me that guy. Look from that profile view of him. Look at that guy.
Yeah, dude, that's pretty unusual. Looks like he's wearing a mask.
Yeah, if you see that one that has his side profile, look at that side profile. Oh my gosh.
Wow. I've seen this one where.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Shrek is real, dude.
Slightly looks like a little bit like Joe Rogan there. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he does. Joe Rogan, I don't know if he's taking too much TRT and human growth hormone. Oh, look at that one on the side, the one on the bottom left corner with the regular person. Look at
interesting.
That. Look at that, dude. Look at just the hair too. It's like,
yeah, it's so much hairiness. It's pretty unusual how much it grows too on the body in different places. But you'll find that most people that have these sort of conditions, again, are hairy, and it's very fascinating.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. So this is a skull of acromegaly, like compared to the human skull. Isn't that fascinating? Like just seeing the dip, like the chin flares down. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's a nice square jaw. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. It's like, even if you watch, like, let's just say this is just some kind of just genetic deformity, which it is, and let's just say it's not even related to Nephilim stuff. Okay, so that guy's skull is buried in the same strata as everybody, all these normal people, and so they'd find this one guy's skull, and they would wrap some whole narrative around it about how this is what man looked like 4.5 million years ago.
Yeah. He's alive with this guy at the same time. So
that's what I'm saying. So that these people would be buried at the same time. And then one of these skulls would be, well, obviously it's millions of years old because people don't look like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, people didn't look like that now, but I mean, occasionally that kind of thing happens.
Yeah. Now, this actually brings into another point that I want to talk about is the hairiness. Okay, guys, like, again, we're talking about Nephilim here, talking about this being a Nephilim trait. Like, hairiness you will find on many, many stories of the ancient world and the ancient things and stuff related to this. And one of the other conditions I want to bring up is this. It's called congenital anodonida. Wait, anodonida. Bro, look at this. Is this not very fascinating? This is the condition where people are born lacking the presence of teeth. Now, you can have just one tooth missing and be born with this, or you can grow fangs and, like, literally just have fangs. Like, is that not... What is this genetic anomalous thing where, like, look, they just have, like, fangs? This person's mouth, this looks like a snake's mouth, bro. They were born with fangs only.
You know what that looks like to me is that that old crazy National Choir that said "Bat Boy Found."
You know what? Probably, yeah, probably.
You know what I'm talking about?
Probably something like this, yeah.
He's got pointy ears and he's got teeth just like that.
Yep, that would make sense. I mean, I haven't seen it, but that would make sense.
I'm sure when you see the picture, you have seen it. Just don't remember it.
Yeah. But like, look at this, dude. Like, just born with fangs, that would be Batboy probably. And he was born with pointed ears too.
I mean, I don't know if it's
maybe
a real
they.
I don't know if it's a real. I don't know if
photos.
it's a real picture, but if it is, yes. I mean, Batboy
Bro.
confirmed.
Well, look at this. This is a Batboy right here for sure. Now you've seen that old vampire movie where they put the two front fangs like this. You know what I'm talking about? Nosferatu, is it? Nosferatu, the really old one where the vampire has just these two front fangs. You know what I'm talking
about? Yes.
This is like similar to what it is. Now, here's another version of this. I don't know why this is even classified in the same category, but look at this. Look how long the two front teeth grow, almost like a bunny. Doesn't that look like rabbit teeth?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And look, it happens just like this. And look how long they grow. When they do have this condition where the two front teeth grow, they grow extra long. This is literally like rabbit's teeth. Okay, we're not. By the way, if you have this condition, awesome, cool. You've got some like Nephilimized trait. Interesting. We're not making fun of it. But like this is very fascinating when you see these kind of things and you see people's teeth where they just grow these two front teeth and it's just like growing super long. And in fact, mention in the comments if you have know anybody or were born with this kind of condition, because this is fascinating to me. Because literally this is like, you see this kind of stuff and it's like this is not normal. This is Nephilimized, animalized traits expressing themselves kind of like a bunny does.
Had teeth like that too?
What?
Sloth from the Goonies.
You're right. Yeah, he did that unusual.
Remember he had pointy ears too?
Yeah.
Pointy ears, and he definitely had that condition about the head shape and everything.
Oh yeah. Dude, bro,
pull up Sloth, dude. He looks like exactly what we're talking about.
Bro, look at this person's teeth, bro.
That's nuts.
Dude, this is not like this person's teeth are all fangs, dude. Look at the sharpness of this. Like this is just insane. Okay. Sloth Goonies. Okay, let's see. Yeah, he definitely has some missing teeth.
But his ears are pointy too. So I mean, like I know they said that he fell, but like look at him. He's got pointy ears. He could in the movie too. He could make his ears move.
Oh yeah,
like they kind of flap. They flapped and stuff.
Was this dude? It wasn't makeup. This dude actually looked like this, right?
No, that's him.
Or what?
That's the guy right
there.
Oh,
okay.
I think his name.
That's the actor.
No. It's the guy. I think it was like Jeff Matuzak or something like that. He was a former NFL football player. That's why he was so big.
Oh, okay.
No, luckily that was not what he actually looked like.
Oh, got it. Yeah. So they're just going off of something historically or whatever they.
Yeah, well, I mean they're showing stuff. I always thought it was kind of interesting in that movie too. One-eyed Willie, remember? And he wore a patch over his eye, but it's not because he had some eye that didn't work. He had a skull that literally didn't have an eye cavity on the one side.
Oh, interesting.
I think that might have been a little bit of a wink to the one eye symbolism. But
yeah, probably. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, this is all, I believe, animal-human hybridization DNA. Like, look at this. This is the teeth growing like this, or bunny teeth. You get like little animal or hamster rabbit teeth. This is like snake teeth, the serpent seed. Bro, like these kind of responses come about from genetic hybridization. There's another term. So this is all under congenital andonida. But did you know there's another term for this same exact condition? It's called hypodonida. And so the same condition has two terms. And you're like, why does the same condition have these two terms? So like, and it's literally missing the presence of teeth, but also the teeth coming in really unusual, I suppose, in some conditions. And so like, but like, dude, this looks like a snake's mouth. Like, I don't know if you ever looked at a snake's mouth, but like, bro, this is like, that's a snake's mouth, bro. That's human though.
That's really, really bizarre. Oh, and correction. It was John Matuzak, not Jeff Matuzak.
Oh, okay.
Not that that's that important, but just
Yeah.
correcting the record.
Yeah, for sure. And but yeah, like, dude, this is not normal. Like the way the teeth are in these situations, and it's, again, no shame if you have this condition, you probably have some Nephilimized trait, but so does everybody. So don't even trip. But look how much more pointed these fangs are. These fangs are not like our natural canines that we see today. Natural canines kind of flare out. These are straight fangs, bro. That is a fang.
That's
dude, that ain't a
nightmare fuel.
Dude, Brett, yeah, nightmare fuel, sure. So we're doing it in the morning today. Like, but like, is this not fascinatingly unusual? I don't know if everybody in the chat, if you guys are like tripping out, or I'm if there's anything interesting I'm missing, let me know. Now
they're still talking about sloth.
We're still talking about sloth, though. Dang. Okay, but like, this is all Nephilimized traits, guys. This is what this comes from, and there's more things that I wanted to mention that's kind of Nephilimized. Well, we'll get into that in a second. Actually, we'll just stop screen sharing for now. Okay, so anyways, I had to show you some of this stuff to go through it to like get a perspective of what we're looking at here first, because before we explain this, before I jump into explaining it all, you got to like kind of know what exactly it is we're talking about. But this condition, these kind of conditions of teeth, this distortion of the teeth comes from something. It comes from some place, somewhere along the lines. Okay, so there was. It's of my belief. I'm just going to shout out my hypothesis here. It's of my belief, without the evidence that I can pin down, that I believe that there was I believe that humans back in the day had no canine teeth. I believe that humans back in the day had just straight, no canine teeth, and you ate and you munched on vegetables. Okay? I think what happened was when the hybridization of the Nephilim genome came in, it made big people, but it didn't make canine teeth. And this is why you see the conehead skulls lacking canine teeth as well, because they're just they're not animalized with these creations. And so I think there is a certain point where there was an animalization hybridization that came in that gave humans the presence of canine teeth. Okay, and then that's when the canine teeth began to be more prevalent, and the drinking of blood began to be more prevalent. And then there was a huge association with ancient stories and ancient myths of creatures that drank blood and had canine teeth. And you're like, that sounds a lot like vampires. And even more so, it comes down to the stories of like ancient stories of like creatures in all mythologies. And another character trait of them is that they were hairy. So they were hairy, they had sharp teeth, and they drank blood. This is where our story concepts of vampires come from. And one of the earliest stories that I want to mention is Lilitu. Okay, Lilitu is a Sumerian like a goddess or demoness, I guess you could call her, who was known for a few things. One, she was known for literally like drinking blood, killing, eating babies, okay? And sort of associated with like the difficulty of childbirth and kidnapping children, okay? And Lilitu was this monstrous sort of creature, but in the Akkadian religion, which is right next to the Sumerian times or whatever, it's what we would consider the Mesopotamian religious, they had another one called Lamashtu. So you got Lilitu, Lamashtu, and there's another one that we hear of that's similar, which is called Lilitu. Okay? So, or Lilitu, Lamia. Lamia is in the Greek, which is another sort of demon-esque creature. Okay, so you've got Lamia, Lamashtu, Lilitu, and then you've got Lilith. Okay, all of these creatures, all of these beings, all do the same thing. They kidnap children or eat children. They're against children. They're women demonesses, and they're evil. I think Lamashtu is actually shown in like the Akkadian sort of perspective, and she's holding snakes often. Okay, and she's nursing dogs or pigs. Okay, why is she nursing dogs or pigs? Because the Gentiles were called dogs or pigs. So they would refer to the Gentiles as dogs or pigs. So there's depictions of her nursing dogs and pigs. We can't like go into all the details of these things and show everything because it just gets weird. And they're also associated with babies and having a hairy body. Or a Lamashtu has a lioness head and brings disease and nightmares. Okay, nightmares and disease, and is associated with children going missing. Now, why is she associated with children going missing? Has to do with the word miscarriages. Okay, so this is where you get all of these associations that Lilith came and stole your child. Okay, because you had a miscarriage. Because Lilith is the demon representation that came and took the blood from you or took the soul of your baby, and that's why you had a miscarriage. This is where the original concepts of miscarriage comes from. It comes from it came from demons taking the soul of your child and you being born with a miscarriage. But guess what? Childbirth became a difficult thing for people that were hybridized with the dogs or the pigs or any creature or any animal that has hybridized genetics. There is an issue with childbirth. Again, I've talked about this on the other channel if you don't understand this, but a lot of childbirth complications or hybridization, like if you mix a lion and a tiger, it produces a liger, and the liger can't reproduce. Okay, like it's very rare if you ever get a reproduction of them. Same with a horse and a donkey, and you get a mule, and the side effect of a mule can't reproduce. It's very rare if you ever get a reproduction. Okay, when hybridization takes place, the reproductive things that the Lord has put in place for some reason fail. And so there has been an association to hybridization or demonic things tethered to lack of children or difficulty during childbirth or death during childbirth. And when a child would die during a miscarriage, it's literally they believed Lilith or Lamashtu or Lamia would have come and taken the soul of your child. So this is where all of this kind of stuff like tethers to or connects to, which is very, very fascinating when you start realizing what this is all connected to and how it is, basically kind of woven into our society in a way that you just don't even naturally think about. Like who thought that, why do you think these monsters kidnap children? It was actually not just kidnapping children. It was taking people's babies during miscarriage, which is very fascinating.
Yeah, well, that's interesting about the Lilith stuff, because I remember that was becoming really big about 2 years ago, I think, that game Diablo was really promoting Lilith, the mother of demons. Like that was, I think the new Diablo game came out on June 6th, 2023. So I guess you said 2 times 3, 6. Yeah, and then I think obviously a lot of big time advertisers jumped on board and they were promoting the mother of demons. Then you had that thing there, that statue that was put on top of that courthouse in Washington, in New York City.
Yeah,
and that was the Lilith statue, and that was promoting abortion. And to go way back, I remember as somebody who was kind of a kid of the 90s, 80s and the 90s, that the women used to have this music festival and they called it Lilith Fair. And I never even, of course, back then I had no idea what that was about. But obviously that's why they chose the name Lilith. Because today how twisted our society is, that they have made this Lilith character as some kind of strong female empowerment because she's the mother of demons. It's like, yeah, so like that. So I guess the character of Lilith comes from like some kind of Kabbalistic tradition where like it was Adam's first wife.
Mm-hmm.
but then she didn't want to submit to no man. She didn't need no man. So then, yeah, she was made from the dirt just like Adam was, and then later God made Eve from Adam. Well, obviously that's not biblical, but the idea that she was the mother of demons likely did come from a true place. Maybe it's the first woman to be impregnated by an angel, and
That's
then
exactly, yeah.
yeah. But I think even Lilith is probably in other religious traditions. She might just be Ishtar or something else. You know, like all the other divine females that are really not divine. They're just the mother of some other, you know, demigod.
The thing is, I think in old depictions of Lilith's description, I think she has like bird feet or something. Which again, Lilith's first state, I think, was basically she was one of the original women that basically slept with the fallen angels, with the Nephilim, and it's actually called a siren. And so it says in the book of Enoch that the women that slept with the Watchers were turned into sirens. Now, one of the earlier depictions of sirens today, we just see them as mermaids. And we're like, oh yeah, sirens are mermaids. But there's actually a secondary depiction of a siren that is turned into a bird. Okay, so when you see Lilith having these bird-looking descriptions, she's also technically a siren, which was one of the women that slept with the fallen angels that God turned him into a bird-like creature, just like he turned some of them into a fish-like creature.
Oh, you know what? That reminds me. I did a video a long time ago about I was connecting Frozen 2 and also the Hoover Dam. As weird as that sounds, but there's a lot there. But what was interesting, a connection that I made was there was
Don't get
this
us banned, bro. You got
this
banned for that.
this character in Greek mythology, and her name was Alcyone. And Alcyone is a star that was represented on the star map on the Hoover Dam. And
Mm.
so Alcyone was, I'm not even sure if she was a demigod or anything, but Poseidon graped her, and
Mm.
then she it messed up one of her other relationship, and at one point Zeus or somebody turned her into a bird. And of course,
Oh, interesting.
yeah, he turned her into a bird.
I
Yeah,
wonder. I wonder if God turned her into a bird and it wasn't Zeus.
yeah. Well, it's really weird. But I remember thinking like Elsa and Alcyone do this kind of like
Siren.
yeah,
Elsa.
Alcyone, Elsiren, yeah,
Oh,
something there.
that is definitely something there, especially Elsa. L.
I know Elsa. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's literally there. It's very obvious that Elohim. Again, they put the name El in everything that's related to the
Yeah,
Nephilim.
and that movie too is about the five elemental spirits, because there was like, you know, you ever heard even like that movie The Fifth Element. So you
Mm.
have the four natural elements are wind, water, fire, and earth. But then there was this fifth element, this fifth earth spirit, or this fifth spirit, and it was Elsa and her sister.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, that movie, Frozen 2, is got the deepest, weirdest, esoteric craziness in there that you got to ask yourself, what's that doing in a kids movie?
Yeah, that is it's very unusual when you really look into these kind of things. It's very alarming how distorted some of this stuff is, and they just try to put it subliminally into your mind. They're just trying to like subliminally put these thoughts and these perspectives into your head to make you like conditioned to accepting it, conditioned to permitting it, conditioned to being drawn towards it in some capacity. So that's all it really is. Like that's all every movie you've ever watched, every show, everything that you've ever seen, it's all there's subliminal programming being pushed onto you. That's why it's called the television program. Okay? They are programming you. Program means grimoire. It's from the word grimoire. Programmer. Gram. Okay? Program means pro witchcraft. It means for witchcraft purposes. That's
Yeah.
literally what that means.
So Doctor Who asked an interesting question. It says, weren't the Gorgons also sirens? And so the most famous Gorgon, I think, in Greek mythology is Medusa. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
isn't it something very similar happened to her where Medusa was like a really beautiful woman, and then she was raped by one of the, one of the gods, and
Mm-hmm.
then she was I think she might have been cursed by the god's wife,
Oh,
and
really? Yeah.
turned her into this hideous thing that if you looked at her, it turned you to stone.
Yeah, I think I vaguely remember that. I think that is what happened. I think it was cursed by somebody that turned her into the Gorgon.
But it's like, but again, it's
Mm-hmm.
interesting that it's like another god cursed this woman, an actual regular woman. I think I want to say that she was a regular woman and turned her into this bastardized hybrid weird snake lady.
That's true. I mean, like, that's what it's all connected to. I mean, and then for those that know any video game logic, the Gorgons are also a race of rock people in Zelda, and the Gorgons, they're rock people because there's like a big association with turning things to stone and becoming
Okay.
stone. And so like that's why they're like the rock people. And so you'll see this like common connection between stone manipulation and demons. I mean, like the trolls turn to stone in the
Yeah.
stories of
When sunlight hits the
yeah,
trolls, they turn to stone.
you
Yeah.
know,
Even the earth giants in Frozen movie were rock monsters.
yeah. There's so much connected to the ability of the Nephilim and these hybridized things to be able to manipulate stone to some capacity, whether they can solidify it, create stone, move stones, make stone, like liquefy stone, whatever. They had some type of ability to manipulate stone within their realm of reality. I'm not sure to what capacity. Obviously, we can only speculate because we
Hmm.
don't see them doing that. But we do have remnants of these massive stone structures and massive things that they've built that are all stone that we can just kind of be like, well, hey, that's seems like that might be a thing. And there's
You know,
also a lot of stone doorways.
yeah, the one thing I was going to say is that I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a big fan of most of the mud fossil research because I think it can
Mm-hmm.
be overly simple and dumb. But there is a lot to the mythologies about things turning to stone. There's so many of them. Another interesting one is in that terrible Noah movie with Russell Crowe. And so the angels came down, and I thought that's one of the cooler scenes in the movie. They come down like fiery, glowing beings, and
Uh-huh.
then when they get to Earth, it's like they turn to these rock monsters. It's the weirdest thing. Obviously, it's not biblical. It's not in the Book of Enoch either. But it's so bizarre that these weird rock monsters are helping Noah and them build the ark. It's just like, but where are they getting the idea that angels turn to stone?
That's a really interesting concept because it comes down to like I think there's connection of truth, some like little nugget
Got to be,
of
got to be something.
perspective from that because the thing is like you've seen in I think that's is it the Power Ranger movie that they recently did where this comet comes down from the Earth and they touch the comet and that's where they got their powers. And there
Hmm.
was like I think there was another movie that was like that. I don't know if it was Super 8 or some other movie where these kids like touched this rock and they got superpowers. And this comes into like a really weird sort of perspective because the stars are in ancient texts in the Jewish texts, they're also the same word for angel. And it's almost like demons need an okatarium, like a vessel or a body to enter into this video game that we call life. They need some kind of, like object. And so like to some regard, maybe meteorites is kind of I think where this idea comes from that meteorites are stars, are fallen angels. They're
Yeah.
fallen angels and they're up in the sky and when they fall to earth as and they take into the form of the vessel of just some rock metal stone thing that comes into this realm and that thing has like some demonic spirit attached to it. i would
Interesting.
be I would be very skeptical. Like I would want to go like if I knew a meteorite hit the ground I would definitely want to go like get it. Like, but I would definitely be like praying before I touched it because I'd be like, there's a possibility there could be a demon attached to this rock.
Yeah.
Just knowing from the things that I've dealt with and dealing with exorcism and stuff and seeing demons attached to objects, bro, I see it all the time. I would be very curious to smash it too, just to see, like, to see if I heard something come out of it or what. Like,
well, there's a couple of things. So in the story of, even in the book of Acts, I believe, and in Ephesus, they believe the Zeus threw down something from heaven, and that was I want to say that was in the temple of Artemis. That was the biggest temple in Ephesus, the temple to Artemis, which is Apollo's sister. Another thing was in Egyptian mythologies, I want to say that King Tut, might have been King Tut, I think it was him. He had a knife made out of, I think, some kind of iron that they believed came from heaven.
Yeah, it was a meteorite.
Yeah, so, and then you also have like that, even the idea that Jesus rules with a rod of iron. It's kind of interesting. It's like they associated iron with coming from heaven, from the sky. And then even you have like those Transformers movies where it's clearly like the Transformers are like, they're like angels, right? They have this other planet. They want to go back home. I mean, that's what the whole thing's about. And like, obviously they're made of metal, but clearly they're giant and they have abilities. They can conceal their identities when they want to. They're more than meets the eye. It's all connected. It always is.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and so yeah, there's also a component of the Nephilim being able to make doorways. So I don't know if you've seen a lot of those old doorways, like the Pan's doorway and the gates to hell, Hades. You know,
Caesarea Philippi.
Yeah, Caesarea Philippi. It's literally just a stone rock where it's like injetted into a rock wall, and it's just like a little cut in, and it's got an arch, and it's like perfect. And you just see this perfect little inset, and you see these all over the world.
Yeah, really weird.
Really weird, just like insets into rock, and it looks like a doorway, but no door. And it's like, well, what are those? Like, those are demonic doorways, guys. Those are for something that can manipulate rock and go into that. And we know that that's the case because it's in Petra. The doors were stone. They were stone doors. They were solid in those beautiful structures. But guess what? We blew some of the doors open with dynamite, and there was a room behind. There was a room inside of the stone rock. So it's like, how are they getting into these rooms? How are they getting into these spaces through solid stone unless somehow they were able to manipulate the stone? You see what I'm saying?
Or what if that some of those examples now that they were melted so badly that like some of the stuff actually all looked the same afterwards and it all looked like it was stone. Maybe there was a door in that inset and now there's not, because I mean, I've always wondered, it's like either way, Petra is crazy, but there's also we often just see that one kind of thing like that they show in Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade. We see like the real famous structure, but Petra is actually really big. I think Petra is interesting because it was in Edom, and I think the Bible does make reference to it to being a fortified city. But there's also like this really bizarre structure that's like, it looks like one massive rock kind of sitting in the middle of nowhere. You're talking about, Brian, and it's all sheared off on the one side.
Yeah,
it's like, that is the weirdest thing. Like, because do you really think they built it like that? Like, why would they only cut the front and not shape around of it? You know what I'm saying? If you could shear that thing off and make it look so ornate on the front, why is it possible that thing was one building and then it got melted beyond belief, but obviously part of it got preserved?
That's interesting. I don't know. I guess I've never really thought of it in that capacity because I've just been like amazed at their ability to manipulate the rock, because it does look like they cut it.
Either way, but also with Petra though, the doors to get in Petra are like what, 25, 30 feet tall,
something ridiculous. They're massive,
stupid big,
and they're solid rock, and they don't hinge, they don't open, so it's like they're just doorways in these elaborate things on the side of the building. And the only way we know that they're doors is because we freaking blew them up with dynamite to make holes to get into there. Found out there was rooms behind these solid, what looked like doorways. Okay, these exist all over the place. In fact, I have another speculation that I think a lot of the tunnels that we have all over the place were actually demonic passageways. Whatever demons could manipulate rock just basically made a rock wall, went into it, and just and like tunneled out a whole space, and then solidified both ends of the passageway with solid rock. And then only they could get in and out because they could passage through that rock and then channel through the whole thing. And then I think there's some things that we potentially, like, we know this and we just like go, oh yeah, this is a demonic passageway. Let's just blow a hole in this side of the rock. We'll act like we dug the whole thing out. And they didn't. They just dug through the door that was solid rock, and they knew that there was the tunnel was the rest of the way through there. And that was already just basically there for them. That's some of my theory on how they've dug some of these places out, because some of the digging out and the underground tunnels that we have, like, they are just beyond what the time frame they've told us we've done it in, and beyond what the capability we have of doing it is even fathomable. So it's like they had to have been there, and clearly they dug some of it out. So like maybe they just knew that some of it was a doorway.
There's so much ancient infrastructure that they don't tell us about. It was actually funny. I was actually I had Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade was actually on in the background last night. And when they went down to find the one Knights Templar with the shield in, like, under that church, it actually was a library and used to be a church. And I just saw, like, Indiana Jones was commenting, or the woman he was with, she was saying, oh, these pagan symbols in here, they're much older than this. And he's like, yeah, this would have been 600 years difference. And I was like, was he saying, like, kind of almost like the Gunnar Heinz and stuff? Like, it's weird that this stuff is all down here together.
Yeah.
Like, it was contemporary. He was saying, yeah, like, the Crusades would have been 600 years later. The Templars would have dug their own tunnels. But it was all in the same it was all in the same tunnel.
Interesting.
Was that a wink and a nod of, yeah, it was all at the same time. This stuff was all contemporary.
Yeah, well, that's a really interesting point to bring up. I know we're going off tangent. We're supposed to be on teeth. We're supposed to be talking about teeth. We just went on to rocks. Now we're going to have to make this episode about teeth and rocks. Okay, but there's so much more about rock that we're going to have to talk about, and rock structures and things. That'll be on another coming up episode, maybe the next 2 episodes or so. I don't know.
We probably need to. I know you mentioned vampires for a little bit, but we probably should do a whole episode on vampires.
We should get into it in more detail for sure, talking about some of it. But the thing I'll mention right now is that, like, a lot of this kind of these tales of vampiric sort of stuff comes from the stories of the Nephilim drinking blood. And a lot of the original vampires or vampire-esque creatures were all hairy. And we know that the hairy people are the Nephilim. Okay, so it's like this came from an animalistic hybridization, and then we've got the dog people, okay? And dog people that we've talked about, that clearly if you have a dog head, which I've showed multiple times on this channel, the people with werewolf syndrome, maybe I'll bring it up again just for the new people, because you know when you see this condition.
Also, we got Dog Man the movie.
Yes, Dog Man the movie for sure.
Now in theaters by DreamWorks.
And so trying to, miselude people from researching this kind of stuff, probably. But here's the thing, guys. Like, check this out. So this is werewolf syndrome. But you got to look at these conditions, guys. For those that haven't seen this already, like, look how wide the nose is on these people. Like, this is not normal. This is not just like how normal people's noses are, or like, people that have a bigger nose or shorter nose. Like, that's not normal, dude. This is beyond that range of what we deem average, normal, acceptable, or standard, rather. And then, like, look, the hair grows only on the child's face. Okay, the hair grows only on the kid's face. This is a girl. Okay, and then this is like, when you see this, and we have it throughout history, guys, like drawings of people where the hair grows only on the face. Okay. Old Wolf Boy from back in the day, like photos of these people where the hair is growing.
What about Cousin It?
Yeah, cousin it for sure. It's another homage to the hybridization of the Nephilim, like when they came into like hybridizing with animals, and this kind of response. And if you notice, her teeth, something is wrong with her teeth, guys. It's not just this. The teeth are messed up as well. Okay, they don't like show it in a lot of the photos, but you can tell that that's her gums right there, guys. That's her gums. So, and there's something unusual going on with the teeth as well. So this is remnant Nephilim genetic sequencing popping up in these people in like ways like this little kid, how he's just got hair on the waist down, or this guy who's got hair that looks like a monkey. I've tried to express this to you guys several times in all the episodes. If you want to find more, watch the other episodes. And so the yeah, like look at this stuff, dude. This is all Nephilim hybridization taking place. Okay, and this was what, what is this? He's a doctor now? Oh, interesting. Oh no, he's not a doctor. I thought he was a doctor. He's just wearing a white jacket.
I hate to say that I might be prejudiced against a doctor that looks like that, but I would be lying if I wasn't. Yeah.
Well, look at this. No, look. I mean, like the response is, and there's people like this that have hair that grow just from the waist down. So a lot of you guys would be like, oh, I can't believe that's not me. That's not me. Yeah, it is you. It's probably you. If you've got a ton of hair from the waist down, you're the same. You're the same as some of these people. Like this is a condition called Panish or Spanish, or Hispanic. Ick means people. Panic. Hispanic means people like Pan. Okay, so this is where these conditions come from, is where the words come from. And another thing is that you got canine teeth. And canine teeth came from the term when actually, and this is an interesting thing, you ever notice that Hitler, or I said the bad word, the in people were looking up certain people. Look at what he was looking up. Notice they were measuring the nose. Did you know he was also measuring people's teeth? Look at the little dude. He was measuring their skulls. He was looking at their teeth. And so like you can see these depictions of them. And by the way, if you look up the old measuring, the measuring skulls, let's see if we can find them. Oh, they taken the images down. Interesting. If you look up the skulls that they were measuring, a lot of them lack the presence of canine teeth. Some of the supposed Jewish skulls that they were looking into. But look at these devices. Do you see these weird devices they were using to measure things? He was looking for people, and they were examining people's teeth, guys. So, let's see if I can find one of the skulls. Skull patterns. Let's see if I can find. Okay, here's one. So, like, when you see this, bro, they don't have canine teeth. Like, they don't even have the ridge where the canine tooth should be. Look, the ridge isn't even there. Isn't that fascinating? So, like, he's looking at these skulls, and they're measuring them to determine something. And they were literally looking at people's teeth to determine genetic anomalous things that they can, say about a certain race or whatever. They're trying to find a race of people that didn't have certain features or that had certain features, right? So like when you look at the measuring skulls that he was using, a lot of them, they're very specific, and they don't have canine teeth. I don't know. It's like hard to find these images now all of a sudden. I think I did it. I think I talked about it on one of my other episodes, and now it's like not pulling up.
Do you think it had something to do with the Aryans? And the Aryans would have been kind of out in the east, like Nepal area, and I think that's what gets twisted, because everyone thinks he was looking for blonde-haired, blue-eyed people, but that's not what he was looking for. They were looking for stuff that's remnants of, and that's the interesting part, is all the stuff you're showing examples of it. Lots of it is in India, or where all this crazy stuff is happening.
Yeah, they were looking for unique things. They were looking for unusual traits, and they were examining people's teeth. They wanted to see people's teeth for a reason. because there was a connection to this kind of stuff. Like if you looked like this, you bet your bottom dollar you'd be in a lab somewhere that he was examining you. Okay, like he would be taking your blood and doing all kinds of weird stuff because they were trying to genetically hybridize with eugenics, is where this term eugenics comes from, to create the perfect sort of whatever race they were trying to hybridize. They were trying to resurrect a Nephilim hybrid race is partially what they were trying to do, I think.
You say that in past tense, and we were chatting off before we started the show. I said that that kind of stuff, I believe, still goes on. They're still doing all those genetic tests. Like, so they want to pin it on one certain kind of, bad people, right? They would say, "Oh, well, that's what they did." But yeah, like that kind of stuff. The mad science we know still happens today.
Oh yeah, and they when I say they are now the people that supposedly they were oppressing. Just a heads up, y'all. I can't say that, but the people that they were oppressing are the bad guys in a lot of situations, and it's the United States. Because guess what? We hired all those people that were doing these experiments.
Operation Paperclip, look it up.
Yeah, Operation Paperclip. If you haven't looked it up, you're like very naive into this. Like, bro, we literally hired them all to continue this type of research and experimentation. What do you think they're doing the little shot things for, guys? The ones that go in the arm? Like, what do you think that is? Where do you think the HIV stuff comes from? Where do you think these conditions? And I can't say certain things.
Yeah, but now you're getting dangerous. I'm
just saying. Where do you think this stuff comes from, guys? So, like, look into it. It's very fascinating when you start looking into this kind of stuff, because you're going to be like, oh, wow, it's all connected to the Nephilim. Yes, it's connected to Nephilim in more ways than you realize. And eventually I'll have a video that I won't be able to put out, and maybe you guys can, like, I'll just like put it somewhere on a website that will break some of this, more of those kind of things down. So that way the genetic things that, the tube doesn't want everybody to hear about.
We need to talk to the people who have cleared Joe Rogan's videos. Can we say that? Can we say that? Can we talk about that? As we started the show off, what can we say? Like, what can we say?
Yeah. Well, this is just like the basis of these things. I hope you guys dig into this stuff more, because there's so much more to this subject. And and lastly, I would say the canine teeth. I didn't fully finish that, but again, I've mentioned this in the last podcast, but it's again my assumptive belief that your blood types heavily dictate how you process food. And I think there's also a connection to your teeth, because the canine teeth came from the Canaanites, that came from, like, you get the word Canite. The reason why the word night has the silent K at the beginning of it is because it came from the Canites that came from the Canaanites. And these were the knights in shining armor, okay, that didn't take their helmets off and had very unusual masks. We have a whole episode about that. Watch the dog one. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it explains it very well. And so you can see the historical context of these dog-headed people that had canine fangs. They had teeth. They had bigger teeth, unusual teeth, and these teeth eventually muted into our today's society to the pretty much where about, I think, almost everybody has canine teeth at this point, and y'all are canonized, and y'all got Nephilim-esque blood to some degree if you got canine teeth in your mouth, okay? And the German people were hunting people down that didn't have that. And so, like, we're all again, everybody's got corruption in your blood, and this is why we need Jesus, and this is why Jesus preaches the gospel to every creature. Once again, I always got to come back to that point, because I don't want you guys freaking out and being like, I have Nephilim blood in me. Yeah, you probably do. It's not a big deal. Every creature has been cleared by the blood of Christ. It does not matter. But this is a very fascinating subject, and it's pretty interesting. And if anybody has weird teeth stories, in fact, I have a really unusual friend that told me about a teeth experience where they said they got a shot. We'll just say they got a shot, and he had a twin, and him and his twin, one of them didn't have canine teeth, and the other one did. But when he got a shot, the one without canine teeth the teeth started becoming canonized, like they started becoming like canine teeth. He said his teeth started changing. I don't even know how valid that is. This is a story, anecdotal, told to me, and it's pretty interesting. And they sent me photos, And like they said, yeah, his teeth used to. That was how they told him apart. One had canine teeth and one didn't. But after one got the shot, his teeth started to look more pointed. Very unusual. I don't know.
That's like the Lost Boys when the guy drank when Michael drank the blood.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this is a very fascinating subject when it comes to teeth. I haven't nailed all the points of putting it all back together. There's still so much to research on this topic, so I'm giving you guys some notes to go start digging. If you guys figure out some cool stuff about canine teeth, shoot me an email, demonracers@gmail.com, and be like, bro, I found this out. Like, tell me, and then like I'll be like, dude, that's epic, and then maybe we'll talk about it some more in more detail. But yeah, this is kind of an episode on structures, bones, teeth, and there's a Nephilim connection. And all the ancient stories of these creatures that drink blood and stuff, all of them all happen to be hairy or animal or have a lion's face, they said, or lion mouth, which again implies big fangs or big canine teeth. And this is where all this sort of stuff sort of plugs together. Anyways, any other last... Oh, wait, you want to mention those people that file down their teeth? You should mention that.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, if you guys had ever seen the movie The Endless Summer, and there was also a second one. And so I think they go into Indonesia to surf at one point. I think it's in Bali. Yeah, and they make a point to say that, yeah, like these people actually literally filed their teeth down flat. And if you couldn't afford to do it while you were alive, they did it afterwards when you were dead. And it was just really weird. It was like, yeah, because their teeth were just perfectly straight all around. Really, really weird. And obviously, that part of Indonesia is it's full of demonic stuff. Obviously, all the idols and weird stuff that they do down there. Really interesting. I actually saw a really interesting TikTok about Indonesia too, saying like when you see it on maps, you have no idea how big it is. But like the length of the Indonesian islands are like way longer than America. I never realized that, because that's like the distortion in the maps. But I think they even said like the Indonesia has like 270 million people. I had no idea about any of that stuff. There's probably so much that you could that's a rabbit hole to go down, all the stuff that's in those islands.
Well, I think it's really fascinating that they basically, like with the teeth thing, that they're filing down the teeth because like clearly they think the teeth are evil in some capacity. Like they think that having canine teeth for some reason are not good. And you're like, okay, well, why do you think it's not good? Like, you think it's not good because of what? Like, where does that stem from?
Yeah.
Like, that stems from something. Question. Like, and it's like, because they think that you need to file it down. Clearly, there is some connection to the teeth being evil, and in the afterlife, they didn't want you to have that or something. Like, that's pretty strange, pretty unusual, guys. Like, they're doing this for some reason. You got to look into the historical context of everything and realize like a lot of this stuff don't make sense. It's pretty crazy, but it's also incredibly interesting.
For sure.
So, anyways, I think that's all I got about teeth stuff today. What anything else? Anything you mentioned?
No, that's it. But I want to plug something. I think tomorrow, probably around 6 p.m. Eastern. We haven't picked out a time yet. I'm going to have Jason Jack on my channel, and we're going to talk about the little season. So if you guys want to check that out, I would love to have you guys join me.
Sounds awesome. Sweet. So yeah, follow him, JT. Follow JC on his YouTube channel, and look him up and check out some cool other interesting stuff. And oh my gosh, thank you guys for the support and the donations. You guys are amazing. I appreciate it so much. And hopefully I'll be able to be doing this more full time here soon. If I can get like some kind of stable donation thing set up or something.
Yeah.
Podcast.
We're growing something.
Yeah. Anyways, all right, guys. Thanks so much. I appreciate you all, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
God bless.
Later.